Hello and welcome to Chrysalis Invictus Tarot. My name is Elizabeth, and tonight I have for you, or today, whenever this reading reaches you, I have for you a messages from your ancestors reading. And we're going to select our piles from these 3 oracle decks. So I invite you to ground your feet now into the earth, or feel your root reach down into the earth. Taking slow, deep, rhythmic breaths into the belly. And if you have some cleansing smoke, allowing that smoke to wash over you. Feeling grounded and centered and safe in this space. Continuing those long, slow, deep breaths with your eyes closed. And when you do eventually open your eyes, doing so slowly and gently, keeping that light perspective. Pile number 1 is represented by the Whispering Woods Oracle. Pile number 2 by the Secret Garden. And the camera will mirror these, so don't worry if you can't read them. And pile number 3 by Flower Petals. So allowing either the aesthetic of each one of these decks or a number to call to you. And this call is from one of your ancestors, beyond grandparent, beyond great-grandparents, one from further back. So making your selection, I'll meet you at your pile. Welcome to your reading, pile number 1. You chose the Whispering Woods Oracle. We'll put that to the side for the end of your reading. And first we're going to pull from the Shaman's Oracle, the spirit of nurture. Just give me a moment to tune into the energy, the ancestor that's coming through. I'm feeling very intense in the face. A lot of headaches, a lot of sinus infections, cold winters. Poland, for some of you this is Poland. This is where they are. We would rush back to our homes to hide, scared for our lives. And those small spaces, they were safety to us. In those dark times, I remember being a child and my mother, the smell of her when I would curl up at her side. Another ancestor is coming through. This one is hiding under a table, or is under a table. This ancestor gave birth under a table. The overwhelming feeling of this is confinement. We want you to know why you feel safe in small spaces. And that the fear that entered our bones is in your bones. But you are closing yourself off from life because of it. And you are not receiving the nurturing that you need. You're giving, giving, and giving, and you are not receiving. We want you to bury your walls and trust yourself to love and be loved. What happened was so long ago, and you still carry it with you as if it were yours. We're so proud of the work you've done. The things that you do, like, we never dreamed of. The courage you have, we never knew we could have. The spirit is alive in you, that was passed on from before us. In our family, we learned plants, we learned sticks, we learned how to live from nothing. How to grow things, how to garden, sow seeds. That gift is in you as well. But the gift of growth is not just strictly for plants. You can grow others with your nurturing. You can grow yourself with this nurturing. We're so proud of you. You need to know that. Pile number 1, the energy of that card is overwhelming. It's wanting to leap out of my hands. Rise up. So this sheltering of yourself. This has taught you something important, something you are going to use to help others who have sheltered themselves. You know this so well, so intimately, that you can pass it on to others through written word. And through symbols. You are the kind of person who dreams realistic. Perhaps sometimes you think that your fantasies are more fantastical than they actually are. You're hard on yourself, very hard on yourself. And this armor has served you well. armor and the hot sun is no longer protecting you, it's draining you. It's trapping you. And it's time to rise above. We speak words to you in your dreams sometimes. Look back in your journal. There are messages for you there. You valued the words and actions of others over your own. And we understand. You are supported to let that go. To be your own authority on yourself and to release the sacrifice of yourself to make others feel better. I see almost like a person bending down to become a footstool for another person to prop their feet up on. And you're valuable. All the help that you need is inside of you. It's right there. Everything you've been looking for, you've been working toward. You just can't see it yet. Or if you do, you only catch glimpses of it for a moment and then it's gone. We see you as a teacher. There are things that you know that we can teach you and you can teach them, others, if you allow us to guide you. There's an experience that is required to understand the light. Many sacrifices have to be made, and it's a hard road to the light. And you are bringing yourself there, step by step. You'll find us in books, bibliomancy, taromancy. There's a specific message. Subscribe to the channel of the fair. It's a message for someone. Clock towers, bookmarks, and channeled visions of despair. You're a bright mark in a dark scene, and we meet you there. Hold on, daughter of Delavine. You're almost there. And a match made in heaven is a match made everywhere. So those are some of the more cryptic or specific messages that come through that will speak to some of you. I'm just going to get a few cards from the Whispering Woods to finalize this reading. And we have the night. Find comfort in the night where the world switches off and the stars burn bright. Again, there's a lot of seeking light through darkness and meeting your ancestors there. Time. Embrace the dewdrops of life before they disappear with the morning sun. Interesting. So it's in the early hours of the morning and the night that you can easily access and meet your ancestors and do the work that they wish to work through you, which is nurturing, teaching. I'm going to leave it there for you, pile number 1. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Welcome to your reading, pile number 2. You chose the Secret Garden Oracle. I just went pretty deeply with pile number 1, so I'm going to give another little smoke cleanse, giving you another opportunity to tap into this ancestral energy. I've shuffled the Shaman's cards in the Cathar Tarot to try and bring messages for you. Some of these messages may be very specific, so if I say something that sounds like complete nonsense and it makes sense to you, then it's for you. If I say something that does not make sense to you, then you can leave that message and know that it is not for you. Shaman of Reflections. This is ailments within the body that are coming through. Weak ankles, problems with the feet, knees, and so on. Once the feet go, the rest of the body goes. And what this means is that there is no travel over long distances. There is a small experience in a small world. You, for your ancestors, are expanding their worldview. You are expanding the possibilities of the tools that were given to you. You are reaching out and actively discovering a new world for everyone that has come before you. The smallness of their worlds. And from them you can learn that ignorance is not always something that is. Where there's fault. Sometimes it's circumstance. But it's a cleansing light wave that you send backwards. Back into the history. And that it will be echoed back into future generations. That you can be proud of yourself as an ancestor of future generations. Your ancestors are also reminding that you are a reflection, and that sometimes the way people treat you is because being around you is like looking in a mirror. And anything they are uncomfortable with in themselves, they see in you. And they treat you accordingly. So there is a reminder here to not take those things personally. That it is more the self that they see in you than you. Because of that, and because you come from the small and have expanded outward, you may have some issues with, you have a difficulty knowing who you are. You are many things, and not all of those things are easy to rectify. You may find yourself agreeing with both sides of an argument. Go with your heart is what they're saying, the ancestors. Go with your heart and not your mind. I'm seeing an owl very, very strongly. Follow the guidance of the owl. She will not lead you astray. When you are confused, the owl is with you. Confusion is your darkness. Confusion is your shadow. And it's because you are a pioneer of knowledge, of thought, of ideas, of a world that your ancestors didn't know of. Some ancestors, some migrated, some moved around a lot, some even traveled oceans, but these ones did not. They stayed where they were, like plants, and grew in the same spot, or within a few miles radius. And then one of them left. And that displacement was hard on them. You're managing it beautifully. You are starlight in the darkness. Let's see what our tarot cards have to say. If there are any other messages here for pile number 2 from ancestral guides. This is the Squire of Love. Because you expand, you reach out, you look farther for love than you have to. This person comes from the same square mile vicinity. You were children together many times over. You know each other well. You are so familiar to each other, you feel like home. And pay attention to synchronicities about people from certain places. They will feel familiar because your ancestral family was so tight-knit and is so tight-knit that The people who you are close to will feel very close to you in a way that you don't quite understand. Tight-knit community. The love and the gifts you've been given involve finding these people. Because you've been community so many times with each other. And so as important as your ancestors are, your spirit family or your soul family are just as important. The people who have incarnated with you, the people who walk with you in this life. And remember that these experiences that you are having are magnified because you are experiencing new things. You are forming new pathways. You are creating new truths. You are expansion. And there is pain in growth. There's pain in growth. You're torn between spirit and the intellect. You're torn between science and spirituality or religion. This may present itself in many ways where you feel that there are always these two options and both of them seem as viable as the other. And there's some confusion in that. This is something you can come to your ancestors for. They know the truth of this dynamic. For some of you, this is two people where over time you have constantly, or the story that's playing itself out is that there are these two soulmates and you're always in different lives choosing one of the two. And this cycle repeats itself over and over. This dynamic of always having to choose between two and feeling like you're living two different lives, wanting to split yourself in half and be more than one person. And in many ways, you're living a life that is more than one person at a time. It's important that you follow your head. You have the ability to reason and to bring exciting ideas forward. Again, with the soul family and with these partners, if you feel lonely and you feel like something is incomplete, pile number 2, you're not wrong for feeling like there are other people needed to complete what it is that you need to do the work of your spirit, of your heart. And there's a child. For some of you, this is specific. There's a child that wants to be born and they will select the partner for you. So that if there is this dynamic, romantically, a triangle, if you will, allow that child to come through and tell you who their parent is. This child needs to be born. This calling to you. Oh, it's one of your ancestors. One of your ancestors is waiting to be born through you. In the bath, you will find truths. With water surrounding you, you can hear the clear wisdom of the ancestors coming through. Your ancestors don't come through in the same channeled way. They come through intellectually. They come through with ideas. They feed you. They help you with study. There are things, connections you make when you're studying, or things that you know that are given to you through them. They don't come through in a very spiritual way. They come through in a very intellectual way. But this is still your connection to their spirit. There's old scholars, scribes, mathematicians. And so it's in this space of the water, in this space of the emotions, in this space of love where these things can thrive, though it seems counterintuitive. It seems like those things would hold you back or pull you back or keep you from the things of your path. It's actually exactly what you need. And we're going to get a few cards from the Secret Garden Oracle. Retreat. Never underestimate the healing power of a quiet moment. And that's when these ideas come through the most. And it seems to me that the sound, the noise in your head, the thoughts and the ideas, it gets quiet when you're by the water. And so that's when you can really hear. That's when you get your breakthroughs, actually. And again, on an intellectual level, like the pieces will all click. This is like writing an essay in your dreams. Or just in a quiet moment of meditation, just all of the pieces come together. And radiance. Keep your head held high and follow the sun. Follow the sun. Interesting. So there's this child here. Follow the illuminated path. Follow these ideas. Keep working on these ideas, even if you don't know what they're for. Keep working on them, because your ancestors are coming through in them. And with the reflection, where the others are reflecting off of you, if you are turning toward them for your own reflection, it's like the mirror that traps the reflection. But if you look toward the sun, if you find your own illumination, then you won't get trapped in this horror house of mirrors. And there's freedom there for you. That's all I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile number 3. You chose the flower petals. So we'll put that aside for the end of your reading. We're going to find first a message from the Shaman's Oracle. So an ancestor or ancestors that are coming through, and they can come through in many different ways, sometimes through channeled messages, sometimes there are voices. And so taking what feels right to you. So if something doesn't feel like it connects with you or communicates to you, that's okay. It's not for you. Hunter of Dreams. This ancestor. Bow your head and listen. The courage that courses through your veins is no mistake. You have work to do. You are not a victim. You are not permitted to stay in that state for long. Your path is strength, courage, perseverance. Each challenge has forged you, formed you. Rise from it. I am here to teach you your craft. Through your hands and through your heart, you will make. And you will laugh and you will be lighthearted for this making. For it is this making that is your true calling. I help you manifest, I help you create what is in your mind and your heart especially. I teach you how to make it real. There's another, and this is for someone else, there's another ancestor that's coming through who is burrowed down in the earth, in the hole, and this ancestor helps you build home, physical reality around you. Similar message, different application. The first is more external, the second is more home. Like the difference between Capricorn and Virgo. That's what I just heard. And in this hole, in this hermit, aloneness, darkness is where you create. And you create for necessity and comfort, but things that you create are necessary for others. You know how to craft these things that others need. We'll pull some cards from the tarot for further messages. This one's coming out strongly. Blast through the stereotypes. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If you are the image of the thing, or whether it looks like this is what you should be doing, or the appearance of things, it doesn't matter. You are driven, and the ambition is to share. And any time that you lose confidence or doubt yourself, you are getting in the way. And you're getting burnt because there's so much fire here. Some of you, this has to do with welding. Welding is coming in really strongly. Four of Wisdom. this is very strongly, stop feeling sorry for yourself. We all carry burdens, and yours are special because your burdens feed the fire, feed the craft, feed the loneliness that creates the necessity to make the thing. Pile number 3, you are the maker. Whether above or below ground, whether in the sunlight or darkness, you are making. And you must create this physical strength and this physical ability to carry out your tasks. And so as you align on your spiritual path and as you connect more and more to your ancestors, you will be guided to develop these physical things, to develop the dexterity, to develop the strength, to develop whatever abilities you need for this craft to work itself through you. And if this message is an affirmation for some, or reassuring or validating for someone, if you're wondering, should I, pick up this thing that I forgot about or that I never really pursued, the answer is yes. Very strongly yes. The ancestors that are coming through here, they're both they're very direct, and they're kind of like almost grumpy into themselves, but it's because they have dedicated themselves. They've become masters of this craft. And so you can call on them. You can call on them to come to you in dreams and teach you in dreams how to do this skill. You can journey to them to meet them, and they will teach you. You go to them and you ask them, and then they will tell you to leave when it's time for you to go. Seven of Swords. You've been told a lot of things that are unnecessary, that just get in the way. You've been lying to yourself or concealing from yourself just get to it. Just get to work and do the things. That's all that's asked of you. Develop your skills. Tune your body to this work. Tune your body to this work. Tune your mind to obeying the call of this work. Go after it, and you will be supported. They don't really want me to say much else. They're not big talkers. This is a very interesting and unique reading. I'm just going to get a few flower petal cards. It's funny that the flower petals are the pile, because this is not a flowery energy that's coming through at all. Snowdrop. Tomorrow brings the illumination of your hopes. Oh, I'm definitely getting that these ancestors came from a cold area. There's a lot to do with a forge. And even if the physical skill is not welding or something like carving or woodwork, it's something that involves physical skill of making. And it's of creating your own business, creating your own object that is sacred and that is needed. So there's a level of innovation involved, but the innovation comes through this high development of skill. And Aster, the past is over. Let your true self step forward. And this is come through so strongly in the stop feeling sorry for yourself. The past is over. The past was there because you needed to be forged in fire. You needed to be forged in conflict to give yourself this hunting instinct, this survival instinct. So if you had traumatic things happen, your ancestors are coming through and saying, that was a tool. It was a means to an end. They're very pragmatic. It was a means to an end. And so not to minimize the things that you've been through, but actually it lifts them up, it elevates them to make them into higher, more purposeful hurts and pains and struggles. And that's all I have for you, pile number 3. Please let me know how this resonated in the comments, because it was very interesting energy, and I want to kind of know how this unfolds. So let me know. Thank you so much for watching.